Hello and welcome back to an Academy Crypto video. I hope you guys doing well today. We're back with another Banker PulseChain video giving you guys the latest and greatest of crypto news. And look at this, a green day in crypto with Bitcoin breaking all-time highs. There's only one thought that comes to my mind. What a beautiful time. Not just day, not just week or month. What a beautiful year to be in PulseChain. And honestly, guys, for everyone who's been watching me for over a year, okay? Give a round of applause for yourself because you've kept on believing, even during times which, by the way, in Q1 was tough for us here in crypto, especially altcoins. People were literally saying, oh yeah, Bitcoin topped at $107,000. Oh yeah, you're stupid for believing in PulseChain because Ethereum is dead. Because I've been telling people, I've been very transparent, yes, we need Ethereum to succeed. And then I have people who are loyal to me, who actually like what I say, and now they're saying, Khaled, how can I, like, what are you saying? What, all of a sudden you're saying that we rely on Ethereum? I thought we were a fork of Ethereum. Why do we need Ethereum anymore? Because you need to understand the laws of altcoins. So let me tell you, looking at this in front of us, yes, PulseChain might not be pumping as hard today, but it has to work in turns, right? Remember the whole concept of the post-Bitcoin halving year. This is where we start thinking about altcoins picking up. Ethereum wins, we win. Not necessarily on the same day. PulseChain, guys, it's an altcoin, large cap altcoin. We're going to leverage off of all of this. This is actually just the beginning. Even though PulseChain launched in May of 2023, which is years, like 2 years plus, there's a quote, and it said, you're better off being 3 years early than being 3 months late to a project. Welcome to PulseChain. This is literally just the beginning. It's a leverage of Ethereum, which is a leverage of Bitcoin's success, which is what? Which is a leverage of S&P 500 success, which is what? Which is the leverage of, I don't know, the debt, the increase in debt. Of course, it's the inverse of the weakening of the US, the Dixie, in the US dollar index, which, by the way, I made a tweet about it just now. Go follow my Twitter, link in the description. Guys, I make tweets, bite-sized tweets. It just hit a 21-year low, the US dollar index. This is good for us, people who are not holding fiat. Because at these times, and it's unfortunate, by the way, how it works, like the whole debt cycle, at these times, people who save money in their bank accounts, and again, this is absolutely not financial advice. You should always have, money saved up, emergency fund, etc. Usually people say around, three monthly salary payments. Basically, that's where you want to have minimum, and then of course if you have 6 times your monthly payment in reserve, that's really good. Anyways, it's not financial advice, but I'm just saying people in general at this time of that phase of the business cycle, I guess, people who save money and just hold on fiat, just doing nothing, they get punished. Because of course their buying power diminishes, even though they see the unit number. Okay, I still have for example, $10,000. How am I losing money? They don't understand the purchasing power behind this, with how inflation works, right? You have to look at the macro forces. This is why we like that the US dollar index is actually getting weakened. This is really good for hedge on inflation assets, effectively, because that's what Bitcoin is. It's a fixed supply, a hedge on risk on asset. So yeah, this is the tweet that I made. Bitcoin breaks all-time high at $116,000. Ethereum's turn is next, which the all-time high of Ethereum is 4,600. We are about to enter the debt monetization phase. Again, this is another way of saying quantitative easing. There's other data that I've been reading that quantitative tightening might have literally stopped. So we're about to start quantitative easing. A lot of people are anticipating for interest rate cuts to be around July. I don't like to have expectations. I like to be a little bit realistic. I'm optimistic, but in a realistic way. So I'm more happy with it happening in September. But if you guys didn't catch what I've been saying the past few videos, how it's the prices don't drive. Sorry, the news don't drive the prices. 9 times out of 10, the price actually already, the chart's already priced in the news that was about to come out. If you understand what I'm saying, okay? It's a really great concept to wrap your head around it. And all I'm trying to say is that the Fed rate cuts in terms of the interest rates, that might be already getting priced in from now. Okay. Again, this really ties into the whole DAO theory where I talk a lot about it on the Telegram, where I say, guys, follow the smart money. Don't wait for the chart to pump. Okay, you're being part of the late majority, guys. Again, with the DAO theory, you have the accumulation phase, right? With the minority, which are the smart money, they're absorbing the market release. And then what's the next? The next phase, which is the market participation. That's where, regular people, retail FOMO. You don't want to be part of them, the 95%, the herd behavior. No. Follow the information asymmetry. So this is what I said here. The best thing you can do now is invest and do nothing. Total crypto market cap is up 4.6%. Let's double check on where it is right now. Actually, yeah, 4.6% at 3.6 trillion, just like that. And what's crazy, we broke Bitcoin all-time high, and we're still at neutral levels on the fear and greed index, guys. Let me double check I'm recording and my mic is working. Yes, thankfully. Like, what a crazy time to be in crypto. And here, this is the Bitcoin's monthly returns. And I just want to show you guys, because again, pattern recognition is kind of the next best thing to having a crystal ball and knowing the future. Okay, so what I wanted to show you guys here exactly is that's relevant to this kind of period in terms of a bull run, is the post Bitcoin year halving. So if you guys didn't know, the Bitcoin halving happened in 2024 April. So of course, post Bitcoin year halving is 2025. Now in terms of the last cycle is 2020. That was the halving. Post Bitcoin year halving. Now let's look at the July and August. From summer to autumn. Look at this. Performing really well. Now let's look at the one before that. So again, the previous Bitcoin halving was 2016. Let's look at the post year again, which is the year of the altcoins, by the way. That's kind of part of the unwritten rules of crypto. Again, really great and performative 2 months from Bitcoin. Let's look at the one before that. Look at this, 2013, July and August. Really good 2 months for Bitcoin. So again, this is why I told people, oh my God, like I've been saying this, and I said, I am expecting Bitcoin to break its all-time high in July. And of course, going into August. Okay, maybe September is going to be a corrective month. And then we're going to head into pump October. And November is going to be, again, really high. That could be the official altcoin season wave. Again, it could take months to rally up into that. $5,000 Ethereum, $6,000 Ethereum. Richard Hart starts streaming. He's no longer wanted by the Interpol. Start seeing movements with the OA. The fact that he's a billionaire, guys. We're going to show you guys in a second. He's a billionaire. I made a tweet about this. There's a lot of rumors, like even I've seen rumors about him owning the OKX exchange. Because they recently uploaded like a video and it had like 1 split second where it said on the pulse. Quite interesting. And what's crazy is that OKX wallet has really great support for PulseChain. So that's kind of another hint that people are saying it's almost better than Rabi, which Rabi, they pulled the support. It's very unfortunate because Rabi was really good. And of course, D-Bank as well. They're both owned by the same company. But you know what? We've seen such a great surge from the community that made alternatives to D-Bank, made alternatives to Rabi Wallet. We have internet money now. You know what I mean? So I'm honestly, guys, I'm so proud of the builders that we have. I have utmost respect for them, especially the ones that continue building even during times where Pulsechain felt like a scam. Because remember, when was the best time to buy Bitcoin? Honestly, think about it. When was the best time? When its inflation was at its highest. An example here is INC. INC's inflation was really high. The PulseX farms were like at triple digits. Triple digits. And also when Bitcoin felt like a scam, guys. When there was like, it was really hard to get unless you're mining. How were you mining? Yeah, by downloading some .exe that you had to trust blindly. That's not malware. It's not ransomware. You're going to try to buy it from, Mt. Gox. Good luck not getting hacked. Mt. Gox, incredible story. Incredible story, really. you know, a big, huge lesson for people to not trust franchise exchanges. It's a custodial wallet. You want to go for non-custodial wallet or self-custodial wallet. It's something that you own. And even I've seen other people, they label it this way, right? You hear people say, not your keys, not your crypto. Some people even say, not your keys, not even crypto. Full stop. It's not even crypto. So be careful from the centralized exchanges, guys. And actually, on that note of the whole be careful thing, um, very sad to hear from a fellow Pulse chain. Pulsechain says, I just lost 11,990. It was my first time trying internet money wallet. And again, he's not saying it has something to do with internet money wallet. And he just says, and it wasn't working with PulseChain Bridge, so I figured I would use CowSwap. I couldn't remember the website, so I Googled it and clicked the top option, and it was a scam that drained my whole wallet. Bummer. And again, this is one of those. There's a huge story back then where OBS, this is the software that I used to record, um, where yeah, people tried to download OBS. They literally just typed download OBS on Google. And the thing is, with Google, they have you can pay for AdSense or you can pay for your search results to be on the top, sponsored, literally above the actual number one search result. And there was this scam link that was basically a fake OBS website. And then yeah, people downloaded it using the installer, and of course it had some. It was basically a Trojan, guys. Okay, it was a Trojan that sniffed for people's wallets. Like some people's crypto wallets got drained, and much more probably bank details, etc. Identity thefts. So this is a really sad story to hear, and I hope that's not a significant part of your portfolio, that this is the worst thing ever, is knowing that you've lost money in crypto not because you've invested in the wrong things. It's just because of other people's greed. Really, we actually live, this is one of the times where I get reminded that we live in such a dark, crappy world, guys. This is why honestly sometimes I'm just happy making videos, talking to myself. You know what I mean? I just this is why I'm happy with my Telegram. Like I genuinely don't need to grow that much. Like you know what I mean? The slow, consistently, slow, constant growth. I mean, is much better. Like I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm just saying I'm so grateful for where I am, just in terms of like life and stuff. Even though I'm nowhere near the end result, I'm enjoying the journey. And yeah, I'm just thankful to God. And of course, guys, if I don't thank you, it's as if I didn't thank God. So thank you for being part of this journey. There's times where, hey, even me, I was kind of doubtful at times. That rarely happened, by the way. But let me just tell you, there's times where I was a little bit doubtful and stuff, and like maybe I don't know, early 2024, late 2023. But reading your comments, seeing other people join me on this journey, it felt really good. So yeah, a big shout out to Richard Maximus here for showing up. And anyways, let's go back to kind of what I wanted to talk about here. Real quick here from Decentralized Me, it says, I've been using Liberty Swap Finance and I must say I'm very impressed. If you weren't aware, you can now bridge across multiple chains at the speed of making a swap on a DEX. I'm not paid by them or anything, yada, yada, yada. So yeah, Liberty Swap, guys, just a quick reminder, because I've seen new people who have been watching my videos. First of all, welcome. Thank you. One of them here is from Batu Sai. Here says, thanks for the info. I'm new to PulseChain. Who has the most potential? Pulse, PulseX, Hex, or Pulse? Oh, okay. So you don't know the difference. I'll tell you in a second. Don't know which one to enter. So off the bat, I'll just tell you, by the way, Pulse and WPLS, effectively the same thing. They're one-to-one, literally one-to-one. You can go to like any, to the DEX, which is PulseX.com, and then you can wrap or unwrap your Pulse. Yeah, basically, just in terms of, what potential do they have? I actually wanted to make a quick segment in this video that talks about the Core 7, kind of one of the main ecosystems that I am in here in PulseChain. Now, I'll just tell you my thoughts on it, and it'll be a quick summary. I'm not gonna go really deep into them because that's for a separate video, and I think each of those tokens, they can have a whole video where I can dive deep into them, which I'll probably make that playlist very soon. But before we get into that, I just want to show you guys and remind you guys of the resources that you have, pulsechain.com. Don't trust anyone else sending you this link. If you scroll down, first of all, it shows you all the main core 4 tokens. And if you remember from the previous video, not only can you sort it or view the charts against the USD, you can also view it against the main anchor, right? The main spear of the blockchain, which is Pulse. This is why when people ask me, why I don't hold that much Pulse, because I choose to double down on the rest of the cores, such as PulseX, sorry, and INC and Hex, and of course eHex, and got PDAI, PWT, we're going to show you guys in here in a second. And if I put from all-time low, this will show exactly what I'm talking about. So here, for example, PulseX in a ratio to Pulse is been going up. What differentiates that? It's mainly to do with the fact that PulseX has a buy and burn. Okay, quickly, what does that actually mean? So from the trading volume that PulseChain has, or specifically from the trading volume under the PulseX liquidity pools. So if I quickly, for example, go to your PulseChain, you can see at the top here it shows PulseX, 9mm, 9-inch, Uniswap, PDEX, etc. Those are the different liquidity providers, or the DEXs, the decentralized exchanges on PulseChain. Majority of the liquidity is in the native DEX, which is PulseX. Again, think of DEX kind of like an ATM or a bank branch, for example, right? You have, yes, it's the same currencies, which you can buy from one bank to, or even another bank, like they recognize that the actual currency or the token itself, but those are different sources where the liquidity stays. And I'll just quickly show you here a stat. If you go to GoPulse, big shout out to GoPulse, and you see liquidities, you can see that 95% of PulseChain's liquidity is in the native DEX. So yeah, PulseX here is created by the same devs that made PulseChain, right? Which is, of course, part of it is the founder Richard Hart, who also found Hex, that was originally launched in Ethereum in the previous cycle in 2019, December. It also had a pre-sale. That's where you have the adoption amplifier. That's a long story, and people were able to mint Hex with their Bitcoin. Again, that's a whole nother story, really. But I just wanted to give the context here. What is Hex? Where did it originate? Because this will kind of come into play why there's 2 hexes. Hold on, why is there 2 hexes? Which one should I buy now? So 1 hex is from the one that's already launched, and it's on Ethereum. We do have that same exact bridged into PulseChain. That hex that launched in 2019, we also have that in PulseChain, so you can buy it on PulseChain. You don't need to go to Ethereum to buy it. And then obviously now, with how PulseChain kind of works, it's a fork of Ethereum. So think about Ethereum as a blockchain, right? And it has this Excel sheet, with they call it a ledger, and it has everyone's holdings, all the tokens that's ever deployed. What is PulseChain? Is effectively a snapshot of Ethereum of that. They took a snapshot exactly on May 10th of 2023. Every token that was on Ethereum and every holder that was on Ethereum at that time has been taken a snapshot of, and then they forked it or cloned it into what it is today, which is PulseChain. It's kind of the same story, not really actually. BNB, for example, Binance Smart Chain is a fork of Ethereum, but it's not a hard fork; it's a soft fork. So it's exactly Ethereum's technology with being a proof of stake, right? But it's minus the whole tokens that launched and tokens holders. Like it's a clean slate Excel sheet, okay? But it's the same workings of Ethereum. And then you have layer 2s, that's kind of another story, but PulseChain, layer 2 is basically, what does that mean? They're built on top of Ethereum. But it's really not a good thing for Ethereum itself. So it was originally designed to make Ethereum quicker and kind of deload from Ethereum's the transaction fees as well and transaction speed, but it ends up not a really great proposition for Ethereum long term actually. Because yes, even though we have Ethereum at lower transaction fees, turns out what? People don't care. People don't care if the transaction fees were low, because it kind of also ends up at Ethereum being at a lower price. But let me tell you, if Ethereum is at $10,000, nobody's going to complain that transaction fee is at $100. You got to be real with yourself. Really. This is why sometimes when you ask customers, and this is like kind of in a business sense, they'll tell you what they want, right? But they won't know what they need, effectively, in a sense. Okay, this is just the one. Oh yeah, I just want Ethereum to be, to be cheap. That's what's stopping me from going over there. No, what's stopping them from going over there? Again, this kind of goes back to the retail FOMO. Is quite literally the green candles. If Ethereum is at $10,000, they're doing like a nice 4x 10,000. They're not complaining. They're not complaining. So, anyways, where was I? I just went off a tangent. All I'm trying to say here is that PulseX is a native DEX, PulseChain. That's good. We want native services to a blockchain. Ethereum doesn't have that. Uniswap's not native to Ethereum, and even the stablecoins that Ethereum has is not native to Ethereum. But we have that. That's just one of the advantages that PulseChain have. Well, honestly, I don't even like to talk about the fact that Pulsechain is 17% quicker than Ethereum. Pulsechain is 30x cheaper in terms of transaction fees than Ethereum. That's not really what's going to attract people. Let's be real with ourselves. What's going to attract people is innovation. Tell them about the next DeFi season bubble. Again, I'm calling it a bubble because the bear market is inevitable. We know that things will kind of go minus 19%, but that's kind of later on. I shouldn't really call it a bubble. We're going to say we have innovation. You can be early, front run the retail FOMO by being in PulseChain right now. No centralized exchange has listed it. The Richard Hart founder hasn't made a live stream. The sacrifice funds, the treasury, right? The Ethereum basically, that is the top 3 Ethereum holder in a spot position, no leverages. It makes PulseChain a true leverage of Ethereum. By the time the sacrifice funds, which by the way right now it holds 166,000 Ethereum, by the time that goes to Ethereum price at 7,000, that's literally a 1 billion buying power that Richard Hart can rotate that into PulseChain. And here you have people talking about, oh my God, we have too low liquidity at these prices. Guys, you need to understand it. This is all being done for a reason. Richard Hart is a man with a plan. You think he just launched PulseChain and he's like, oh, okay, what should I do next now? Let's go back to the drawing board. No, he's been planning this way before PulseChain came out. He strategically launched it, and it was actually a perfect time. You might say, no, not really. If you zoom out, look at the chart. It looks really bad. No. Watch my previous video. I literally there was a tweet that compared the PulseX to XRP. There's one of the 5 videos back where it was his name Access Alive. Yeah, it was Access Alive that compared PulseChain to Ton. How it took years before it had its massive hundreds of X's. Guys, telling you, this is just the beginning. The fact that we launched in the middle of the bear market gave no one else but you, the believer, a chance, especially if you weren't a whale. If you're able to accumulate in the positions that you believe in. For example, why? Why am I saying this, right? Now, if I'm bullish on a token, let's say PDAI, okay, or PWBC. Now, for me coming into the market, not as a big player, 1000x is gonna change my life, generational wealth. But now because I have narrowed it down to a handful or a dozen of projects that I really believe in, and then I have X amount of time to slowly keep DCing into that. DCing is such a great strategy, regardless of whether the price is going up or whether the price is going down. Trust me, I have seen the positives of a DCA, and it's really, really great. Okay, there's some positions where I'm effectively like a whale. Okay, and I literally started off with like $50 to $100 buys. Guys, okay, let me tell you, it actually works. But now all of a sudden, because you've been accumulating in the projects that you believe in, you're not jumping on the new shiny new object syndrome that a lot of people are falling for. Like, with pump.fun. It's crazy. Lots of money got extracted, guys. Now, because you're focusing on the projects that you believe in, you're delaying your gratification, you're blocking the noise, you're saying, no, I am not going to buy that token just because the green candle that has already happened. I am buying stuff where the green candle hasn't happened yet. I'm buying stuff where people aren't there yet. Information asymmetry. I'm trying to front run retail FOMO. I am focusing first on the blue chips of PulseChain. And this is where I want to talk about the core 7. So to that commenter, this is, by the way, this segment was all for you. Batusai. Big shout out to you, by the way. So quickly off the bat, just as a reminder, Pulse and WPLS, same thing. Okay, PulseX, I'll explain that in a second, right? It's the token of the DEX, the native DEX. It's called PulseX.com, and the DEX token here is called PulseX. So what is PulseX? What makes it more bullish, is because of the buy and burn. So remember when I talked about the fact that there's multiple ATMs or multiple banks in PulseChain, right? Liquidity providing platforms, whatever you call it. And we said 95% of liquidity is on here. Now every single, and you see the icon here? You see that little PulseX right there? Let me quickly zoom in. You see these circles? That just means that this pair is on that platform. It's on that bank, the PulseX. This liquidity pool is hosted on PulseX. So every single dollar, you see the volume that you have right here, this is the 24-hour volume. Every single dollar on here, a portion of that goes to trading fees, which a portion of that goes to buying and burning PulseX. What does that mean? What does burning mean? Now, with every blockchain, there's usually an address that nobody has access to. Nobody. Even Vitalik, the guy who owns Ethereum, nobody has access to. And it's usually something like 0x000, which 0x kind of means it's just a hexadecimal address. If you're into tech, anyways, 0x000 DEAD, dead, right? We have that exact same address. That's why if you have a wallet on Ethereum, it automatically works for any wallet on PulseChain. That's just because it's EVM compatible, right? Which is a great attribute to have, by the way. I believe all EVM compatible chains have great longevity. This is why, guys, Solana, it's really great. You can make a lot of money from it this cycle, and I think it's going to have a second wave. It's been struggling, of course, the past few months, and it had a great altcoin season in early or March Q2, I guess, of 2024. But do remember, the next cycle, it's going to be in its third cycle curse. So keep that in mind, but PulseChain is still flourishing. We might even see a PulseChain ETF in next cycle. Okay, but as we like to keep the scope. Yes, I'm an investor, but I like to keep a scope within the bull. I do have tokens I'm going to hold till the next bull runs or even bull runs to come. One of them is literally PulseX. One of them is literally Hex and INC. These are all blue chips of PulseChain. This is native to PulseChain. This was launched with PulseChain. Okay, there's no like, oh my God, is the dev gonna, how much is the dev holding? No. Even though there's the whole concept of the OA holding, that's, again, I think it's a little bit too much. I don't want to overwhelm you with information about that. But yeah, effectively what I'm trying to say, the buy and burn, what happens, part of that portions from the volume, which again is every single day. We've calculated the average, gets bought. So it's, again, the contract takes that money and it buys PulseX. So it does like a buy pressure, which is really good. And then it sends that to the burn address, which is 0x000 DEAD, or there's another one, which is 000. That's called the null address, or technically there's a third one, which is the 000 369. That's the one that's specific to PulseChain, because 369 is the chain ID for PulseChain's mainnet. You don't know what that is? Don't worry about it for now. 369 is just the PulseChain ID, okay? And that's really good. Why is that really good? Number one, buy pressure. Number two, relative to Pulse, it makes PulseX a direct leverage of Pulse. What do I mean by this? So we're looking at the chart now, and this is versus the dollar. If we switch that to compare, again, switch price in WPLS, we're going to now see it versus the anchor point of the whole blockchain, which is what? Pulse. Guys, it's what every single price is relative to. If you understand that concept with the relativity, you will understand liquidity pools, the ratios, Hart's law. Telling you guys, I'm not going to talk all about that right now, but it's very exciting. So if you click this button, magically, you will see why I'm holding PulseX significantly more than Pulse. I'm basically just holding Pulse for gas fees, basically. Okay, so since it's all-time low in 16th of September, which is 16th of September 2023, to where we are, to basically all-time high, that's a 4x. You need to add another one, by the way, because this just shows the percentage change, and that's a 4x from there, which is crazy, guys. This is with no market, like nobody needed to buy an actual PulseX token. This is just from the buy and burn effect, effectively. Even though the price is absolutely, if we look back at it, it looks kind of dead. This is what a retail investor would be like, oh yeah, this is a scam. This is just going sideways. But what a lot of people are seeing, that we're seeing a bull flag with a breakout soon. I'm telling you, guys, with the sacrifice funds, it's exciting. PulseX is huge. Okay, so now in terms of quickly, just to wrap up about PulseX, if you go back to here, GoPulse.com, by the way, I just want to say, big shout to GoPulse. They're doing this website, it's a really great place for everyone to get the stats, but please don't use it for the swap. Now, I just have to be honest with you guys, okay? And I need to hold them accountable. They can do better. They need to disclaim that they're taking a 3%, guys, 3% transaction fee right here without letting you know about that. A quick way to prove this, look at this. If we put it from EDAI to ESDT, these are stablecoins. Look, if I put $100, you'll receive 96.3. So that's more than 3%. That's more than 3%, guys. Okay, so yeah, accountability on that. But at the same time, appreciation, the fact that they're making such a beautiful website. It's just that, just be transparent, bro. Like, make your money. Just be transparent, really. I understand. Anyways, and then they made their own token Go. Again, no hate. She is going up. It's doing pretty well. People sacrificed for it. It's a free chain, like freedom of speech. This is what we represent. So please remember this. Don't ever spend time hating on other people's successes, okay, or projects in general. Spend the time shilling your own bags, as some people say, honestly. So please be careful, okay? Because if you hate on success, success might hate back on you. It's something that I go by, and I think it kind of reminds people that use your time wisely. At the end of the day, time is the only currency that doesn't inflate. If you're not learning, if you're not earning, you're not spending time with loved ones, what are you doing with your time, bro? What are you doing with your time going on under other people's tweets or comments or videos and whatever and just hating on them? Okay? So hold yourself accountable to that. Anyways. Big shout out to GoPulse. They have really great stats. For example, here, the PulseX, you can see it has burnt. Again, I'll quickly zoom in for you guys. This is the total burnt. 7.37% of the supply burnt forever sent to that dead or burn address, which we mentioned there's 3 of them. If you remember, 0x000, which is the null address, 0x0 DEAD, 0x0369. Those are the 3. So 7.37% of the supply burnt. $32 million worth PulseX burnt. And by the way, today, Pulsechain is day 790. 790. So if you divide 7.37 million divided by 790, it'll be as if some random guy shows up to PulseX and just buys $35,000 worth of it and goes away and never sells. Never sells, and he can never sell. That's exactly what I'm talking about. And by the way, there's days, for example, in the previous mini altcoin season, in November, December of last year, 2024, where PulseX was literally burning $150,000 worth, buying and burning $150,000 worth of PulseX in one day. We're going to go back to those days. You know that. Big shout to PulseChain, because we're been in the top 5 in the DEX screener for such a long time. This is PDAI, this is PWBTC, this is part of the Core 7 ecosystem. Now I understand it's technically Core 4. I just added 3 more to the list, which is what? EHEX, the one that's launched in 2019. I am bullish on that. Because if it did a 10,000x in the previous cycle, and it literally, and I've met some of them, it minted millionaires, people that weren't millionaires, people that were doing a 9 to 5. And it minted millionaires, Richard Hart. And by the way, Richard Hart was a billionaire before all of this. He didn't become a billionaire because of the projects that he made. He's a self-made billionaire, guys. He started mining Bitcoin back in like 2010 from his laptop, when he was mining full blocks from his laptop, guys. When Bitcoin price was effectively at, I don't know, half a dollar, a few cents. He's not doing this for money. He's doing this for legacy. He truly believes in the true decentralization. This is the type of chain that you want to be in. Okay, it's very innovative. For this exact reason, the 2 projects right in front of you, PDAI, a token that is not at $1 yet. It's unstable. It's a future stablecoin that's truly decentralized, built off state-of-the-art stablecoin, which is DAI from Ethereum, that took a snapshot during its legacy diversion maker DAO, which is now we've been rebranded to Sky, which now they have another stablecoin called USDS, and they're slowly decommissioning DAI. That's happening on Ethereum, and then USDS has a blacklist / freeze function, which is not a really great thing. Okay, that's kind of the story about PDAI, guys. It's quite interesting. It's a crypto backed. It doesn't require a bank account, and so far right now it doesn't have an oracle, which is a single point of failure. It is a lot of things happening in the background. We have a rocket scientist that's working in the background, the Atropa ecosystem, rumored to be working with Richard Hart, rumored to be hired by Richard Hart. Again, this is a deep story. You can watch my previous videos. I am going to make a deep dive on that. Yeah, I got PWBTC on this other hand. It's effectively Bitcoin, but in 2017 prices. Currently today is at $738. Real Bitcoin price is at 116. From where we are to real Bitcoin price is 156x. Same thing with the stable coin here. From where we are, which by the way, we're half a cent, to where we are to $1, is in 183x. Again, this is high risk. I have to be very honest with you guys. This is high risk, but it comes with high reward. Simple. But you understand, as you're coming into crypto, you have to have a probabilistic approach. Go look it up what it means. You can only invest with the risk capital. You have to diversify. Don't ever go all in. Like if you literally come to me and say, can I go all into PDAI right now? I'll tell you no. Diversify, brother. Diversify. Diversify to protect yourself against ecosystem level risks. This is why, for example, I go into PDAI, high risk, high reward. I go into PulseX, lower risk because it's native to PulseChain. Technically PDAI is native to PulseChain, but it's kind of a blue chip that's officially launched by the dev team. PDAI here, cloned, but there's a lot of uncertainties around it, which does make it exciting for me to hold it, because I feel like that's where you get rewarded. It's the bags that feel terrible to hold that end up giving you the best gains. That's one of the concepts that you can learn, but obviously you have to be very responsible. Do your own decisions, guys. Do your own research as well. So please be careful. Crypto can be a scary place, can be addictive. So yeah, watch my videos, guys. Join my Telegram, link in description. What are you doing? Not joining it? What are you doing? And as well, just a quick reminder, I just want to say, especially unfortunately to cases like this, please take your time. I've made a course. Yes, it has a price tag. If you want to buy it, you can. But if you don't, and especially if you don't have that much money that you want to spare because you want to, I don't know, whatever your circumstances are, I got you. Use code PDAI, the same way, the same spelling right here, PDAI. I think it's not case sensitive. Use that. When you click I want this, you'll get the course for free. This gets you up to date with everything you need to know to keep your wallet secure. whether if it's a cold wallet, a hot wallet, what is even the difference between the two, I cover in here. The CIA, not that type of three-letter agency. I'm talking about the confidentiality, availability, integrity. I even talk about the fake URLs, which is the exact way that unfortunate gentleman had his wallet compromised. I even talk about right here, you know, the ads that show up. And I talk about how you can use the latest industry standard, you know, encryption algorithm like AES-256-bit. I talk about even how to read solidity contracts if you want to do your own research and see if there's, you know, any malicious contracts. What's the difference between a seed phrase and a private key and a master key? You know, what if I got compromised? You know, can I revert? Can I fix my wallet again? And a bunch of other things. Give it a read. It's literally 6 videos, 1.5 hours worth of content. You can finish that in a day, and it will teach you everything you need to know to keep yourself secure. So please do so. And you know, if you end up getting the course for free, I would appreciate leaving a rating. Give me your honest feedback. What did you like about the course? What did you didn't like? What do you want me to add to it? And what, I don't know, anything really. But guys, you know, I wanted to cover a lot more news in this video, but you know what? I'm actually quite happy. I will make a separate video talking about the Core 7 ecosystem, but hopefully to that gentleman, I just want to say that I personally believe in all 7. Okay, PulseX, and again, when I say Pulse, it also includes WPLS, wrapped Pulse. It's effectively the same. It's basically going from a coin, turning it into a PRC20 when you wrap it to turn it into a PRC20. Okay. What's the difference between a coin and a token? You can quickly Google that, which, by the way, I do explain that in the Learn Crypto, the Ultimate Guide, which is another course that I made originally. And again, you can get this also for free, limited time, using code PDAI. If you're very new to crypto, you will find this very helpful. It talks about liquidity pools, which is what I spent a few minutes in this video talking about. Difference between Ethereum 1.0, 2.0, difference between Bitcoin, etc. You know, different ERC standards, yada yada yada, technical analysis, why does volume matter, you know, a lot of things. Yeah. Anyways, as I was going back to it, I believe in all 7: Pulse, PulseX, Hex, INC, the liquid gold. I'll talk about that. Why do I label it as liquid gold? PDAI, PWBTC, the future Bitcoin price, the future stablecoin. Highly speculative, comes with high rewards, and of course you have to do your research. Aside from that, I just want to say a big thank you to the people who are commenting. Big thank you to the YouTube members who are choosing to support my small channel. Remember, they have access to my members' exclusive videos. I'm not going to tell you what they are about. You have to find out. Okay, I think I'm done repeating that. You just have to find out at this point. And then here to the comment from WDHD, 2 terabytes. It says, mad respect for you for being here no matter the situation and not disappearing when things get tough. You actually did the opposite. You were even more present when FUD, stands for fear, uncertainty, and doubt for the people who didn't know, was at maximum level. Conviction is key. We will win. Amen, brother. Thank you very much for that message. It means a lot, of course, when I read messages like this. It makes my day, and makes, you know, times like this where I'm recording a video out of passion, and it is past my bedtime. I need to wake up at 5, and it's 1:15 midnight. But you know what? It is worth it. I would go back in time. I would still do it again. I would go back in time in 2023, knowing that, okay, PDAI doesn't go to $1 in midway through 2025. I would still be in Pulsechain. I would still start making videos about Pulsechain in 2023 again, just the same way how I did it now. Because I swear to God, the first time I clicked Connect Wallet to Pulsechain in 2023 in August, I've only been bullish ever since. And this is coming from a guy who sacrificed in PulseX in 2022, which of course, you know, this sacrifice hasn't been a profitable trade for me, but of course I'm holding it. So what is never sold, the realized losses was never realized. Or sorry, what is never sold, the losses were never realized. You know, anyways, I can't really speak right now, guys. I'm going to end the video there. I love you guys, and I just want to say a big shout out to the man above. Trust in the process, trust in God. I'll see you next week. Take care.